Hello everyone who's going to pick a fight with the local corrupt church because the sounds of human sacrifice are keeping you up at night. I am BorderWise and welcome back to From the Depths and some campaign commentary. It's been a while since we've done this. In fact, this is only the second time I've ever done this, or so. I think that's correct, right? Anyway, we're taking on the White Flayers. This is the... I've forgotten what this campaign's called and it was literally just on screen and I wasn't looking. Anyway, we're fighting the White Flayers. To put our Godly Nita fleet through its paces, make sure that it's all ready, steady, fat, and leady, I guess? I don't know. So yeah, there was one craft in particular I wanted to test during this campaign, but the show ended up kind of being stolen by the Ailstorm Gremlin, which is now officially named and officially finished, and by gum if it isn't, possibly one of the best starter vehicles I've ever made in my life, because that thing just is so useful. And also the what do we call it? The tool, logistics vehicle, support vehicle, I guess. Very nice. So we've got we're succeeding in our metal band theming. We've got the Ailstorm, we've got the tool, and yeah, one thing I completely forgot to do is to give individual little names to each of the units, so to speak. I kind of forgot. But yeah. And, like, what you're seeing right now is that, like, all the non-combat footage is sped up ×4 just to get through it, which is very nice. And the Ailstorm Gremlin's doing its thing, and here's the first fight already. It is a Smite. It is a nuke vehicle. And I was actually worried about this when I first saw it pop on the map. I never tested the Ailstorm against it, and it turns out... life is good, life is fine, don't worry about it. So, good start. This is the hardest difficulty, by the way, the regular hardest difficulty, which is why I actually got achievements during this. And I completely forgot that From the Depths even has achievements, so there you go. After about 6,000 hours, I'm actually starting to get it. And so the plan here is simple, just proceed, and try and do the thing that, like you do in all kind of strategy games, is cripple the enemy economy as soon as possible. And I believe... What fight is this? This is another Smite. I don't know why... No, this isn't another Smite. So this fight is a little bit longer. This is the Wrecker, which I was delighted to find has been updated. This ain't your grandma's Wrecker. This one has flamethrowers, which is delightful. It's like, yay, flamethrowers. And again, I was a little bit worried here, thinking like, alright, this thing is fast enough to close in to the Ailstorm, or the Gremlin, and has flamethrowers and could actually do some damage, except that the Ailstorm is made basically entirely out of alloy and stone, so it is pretty fire resistant, and it also didn't stay still long enough to get a decent fire on, and a mixture of Sabot Frag and AP Heat make short work of the Wrecker. So this is promising, this is a good start. And you've always got to be careful of like getting too cocky early in a campaign because the AI does react to what you do. And in this case, the White Flayers, like not to spoil anything, they really did like I just forgot what the bloody thing's called. The nuke craft. What is it? The Sin Eater. That's the one. They really liked those. You're gonna see a lot of nuclear explosions in this particular video, but thankfully we like that around here. And also, this was an invaluable experience with regards to what the Ailstorm Gremlin in particular is good at. This wasn't the vehicle I was supposed to test. Like, this thing has already been in, like, 2 different... Oh, wait, I just remembered. This is technically the 3rd campaign commentary I did, because Barons of the North was a thing. Terribly sorry, Azuzu. I kind of forgot that. So... at this point, the Wrecker got hit so hard in the face that it caused the universe to like crash out for a second. So there you go. And yeah, so we're just proceeding, going to take on that, and not trying to be too greedy. Trying to keep my one Ailstorm near my 2 bases here. And here's the great thing about just having one logistics vehicle, because it is a all-in-one spy satellite, harvester, and cargo craft. It is a little bit pricey, but it does mean I don't need... like it means that like they can do whatever depending on what you need right now. And there is another Wrecker. I believe this fight goes very much the same as the first one, and here's the downside of using belt feeders. is that they do need to reload. And once again, a little bit of sizzle. And I don't know how, but the wrecker managed to set itself on fire a little bit. And by the way, like, I test against the sailfish quite often these days, so I have an almost Pavlovian response to get really scared when I see flamethrowers opening fire. Hee. And turns out that, yeah, no, the wrecker's flamethrowers are not nearly as strong, to the surprise of absolutely no one. I think they're just little ones like that. And, yeah, Ailstorm just backpedals, as the Ailstorm does. I really do think that, like, small nippy frontsiders are just... I think they're better than the flying bricks, because the Ailstorms are just so good at punching above their weight and being nice and versatile, that honestly, like, I think I prefer smaller glass cannon frontsiders to, like, big, tough ones, which is kind of silly, because, like, flying bricks are very, very good. I'm just not particularly good at them, because they require a level of planning ahead that I don't generally do very well, so... yeah, that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. So, yeah. Yeah. The Wrecker is now doing its best Blue Angels impression by doing fancy stunts and stuff. Also, I need to double check the Wrecker and see if that those rotary bits are like actual decorated like rams or something, or whether they're just metal, and whether the thing is actually supposed to just charge into them. So yeah, so far, so good against the white Flayers. And then we've got a little second Gremlin over there, being all Gremlin-y. Very, very nice. And music is sped up a lot. So at this point, we're just going to sit and cool our heels a little bit. And like capture tiles, and lo and behold, there's another Sin Eater, to the surprise of absolutely no one. So I'm not sure what the AI was thinking here. Maybe they... I really don't know what they were thinking. Possibly because they were confused about what the Ailstorm actually was. Because it is like a helicopter, but it kind of acts like a thruster craft. And it has very pretty traces, I do like to say that. I was like worried throughout this whole campaign of like what would happen if the Sin Eater actually managed to like collide with any one of me gremlins. And I shouldn't have been that worried, because I have done tests and I don't remember what I was testing against. But the Ailstorm Gremlin actually did... what are we doing here? What are we doing? We're doing... we're taking on this thing. Alright, this was it. Anyway, so basically what I was about to say is that the Ailstorm Gremlin has been nuked before, and it managed to survive it somehow. I'm not sure how. And so, yeah, this thing is not a problem. The Gremlins are not even firing their missile interceptors, because the missiles don't even have the range. This is why spamming small missiles is a terrible idea. Yeah. You will notice, however, that the Ailstorm Gremlins have pretty lousy accuracy because they wibble around so much. It's worth it. It's totally worth it. And yes, you just noticed a jump there, hopefully. And because, frankly, this fight was not interesting. The Gremlins were not in any threat whatsoever, and we were just shooting this thing to bits, bit by bit. This is the problem with the Gremlins. They're great against small or compact stuff because they've got heat, they've got sabot rounds, but against large stuff, they do tend to struggle a little bit because they can't concentrate fire really well on just like one spot, so to speak. So yeah, I do need to work on that, or at least I need to get them paired with something. I have been thinking to have a version of the Ailstorm Gremlin. I'm probably going to call it the Ailstorm Firebug or something like that. That has flamethrowers instead of APS, and it's kind of the opposite. It kind of gets in people's faces and like flames them. And it turns them flaming, so to speak. Alright, what fight was this? I don't quite remember. That's another Sin Eater. So I'm not keeping count here, but there's a lot of Sin Eaters that get thrown at us. Pity anyone who tries and fights the white Flayers just with ships, because I think they're going to have a very bad time. This is just more evidence that From the Depths is not boat game. It is flying thing game. It is plane game. It is airship game. It is thrustercraft game. it is defying gravity game. Actually, it really is defying gravity game because the gravity is so low and the air is so thick because of all the hamburgers it's eaten. Fat air. What was I saying? Alright, so... life continues. I kind of want there to be like a version of Neater in which it's a little bit like a traditional RTS in that there's just you and one enemy faction of your choice, but they like spawn, they're like on opposite ends of the full Neater map. And that I think will be pretty cool because then it's like, it means both of you have the opportunity to like start steamrolling each other, and that's when the big stuff comes to play, so to speak. What is this? Alright, so this is, I think, the largest thing that the White Flayers end up sending at us, the Flayers, which looks damn cool, by the way. And it was also very nice to know that the Ailstorms can dodge AP rounds. They actually do it quite well. Turns out if you move in a drunken figure eight, like, even miniguns have a lot of trouble hitting you. Gods, the Flayers are so gorgeous. Unfortunately, it is exactly the wrong thing to use against little nippy frontsiders like this. Actually, looking at that, I was trying to see how much I was trying to see whether those shells were even hitting the Ailstorms, and they were not. So yeah, there is that. So this is again a long fight, and just goes to show that really. Best defense is just to be almost impossible to hit. And, yep, we're speeding through this because this takes a long time. This takes a very long time, lots of bullets. But thankfully the Ailstorm is weirdly material efficient. For something that has a bunch of custom jets and, like, spits out a lot of APS shells, it's quite material efficient, so that's a good sign. I think the Ailstorm Gremlin is definitely proving its worth as a starter craft. Able to, like, fight things, like, way above its weight. Alright, so we have magically skipped through time. I don't know what happened here, honestly. I think the Valets managed to get a few heat shells poking into its engines or maybe its fuel tanks. But in any case, it stopped moving and kind of sank into the water a little bit. And checking the power, like, yeah, it's like out of power, so to speak. That was me trying to look at the engines. Maybe a steam connection got severed at some point, which would make Valve very unhappy if it was their Steam, but it's not, so it's all good. And, yay, health below 80% sinking. So, that took a while. Ailstorm Gremlin is great at killing small stuff. It is okay at dealing with big stuff. It's not ideal. This is where you kind of need bigger, meaner stuff to point out the bleeding obvious. So, yet another victory, and the Ailstorms are doing great. This is really just the Ailstorms, like, running wild on absolutely everything. They probably wouldn't do as well against the Lightning Hoods, I don't think, because the Lightning Hoods like lasers. What am I going to do against the Lightning Hoods? I don't know. I think the next fight we'll be doing, however, is against the Steel Striders. That's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. I am going to be tweaking some designs first, because I always want to test something new in these little campaign commentaries first. There's another Sin Eater. Again, I have not been keeping count, but we've definitely blown up a few of them. I think that AI just likes them because they're cheap. But yeah, so here's a Lacerator, which is like... Here's the thing about easy vehicles. They're easy to forget. Easy and easy. Which is why I'm so happy that people liked the EasyCraft tournament that I uploaded the other day. Like, it's really nice to see that people like that. I mean, it was suggested in the comments, and so it was a good suggestion. Like, people agreed, saying like, oh, these guys do exist, they're great. But yeah, then you focus so much on testing against hard or godly opponents, sometimes medium, if you know you're going to be running into them. But then, like, the AI for some reason just decides to throw hordes of easy vehicles at you, and you're like, huh, this is actually easier than I thought it was going to be. And what we're building over there is a prototype vehicle that is not named yet. It is a... I have been working... spending many an hour trying to find a good successor to the Icicle. an improved version of the icicle, so to speak. Something that's basically can fulfill a similar role of just a generalist, surface vessel. So bigger and more firepower than just the Ailstorm Gremlin, but still like reasonably cheap. So between about 200 to 400,000 materials. And I think I've succeeded twice. I've actually built 2 vehicles like that. Neither of them are named. And I wasn't going to keep both of them, but I think I might just do that, because they seem to be good at different things. So yeah, we're gonna see. We're probably also going to throw them against each other a lot. So yeah, there is that. Let's see here. This is a pair of Sin Eaters. And I foolishly... Well, no, it's not a pair of Sin Eaters. I think it's a Sin Eater and a Lacerator is what we're dealing with here. So, Sin Eater gets very close. This gets... Oh, that's very close. And kablooey. If it gets hit in the snoot, it dies. And here's the Lacerator. So yeah, the White Flayers, for some reason... I think you've got to remember that the From the Depths campaigns is kind of RNG in what the AI decides to do. And so you may or may not be facing the things from your nightmares or the things that are really easy to deal with. And I think I kind of got lucky this time. I think I also got lucky when playing through the Onyx Watch campaign in the same vein of testing these designs. Because I lost a round because I ran into a halberd. They happened to spawn one. And then... I kind of lost immediately because the old version of the Hailstorm, couldn't handle it. And, but then they didn't do that again, and I managed to spawn, big mean things and flattened all their resource zones, and, life is good, life continues. Music is good. Another reason to play the campaign is just so you hear the music, and that was very close, and I got very scared. Thankfully, it is really obvious to tell when the Sin Eater is dead. The signs can be subtle, but if you see a giant mushroom cloud, generally a sign the thing has decided to cease existing. Jolly, jolly, jolly good. So, and the poor Lacerator is like, oh dear, what are you doing, lads? What are you doing? This is the hardest difficulty, by the way. I believe I showed that on screen, me selecting the difficulty. Not particularly difficult, I do have to say. I think the custom difficulty that I usually set is actually harder than hard. But yeah, I think all of this, yeah. So, basically what I'm trying to get at is that the news is good. We're getting in some lovely campaign practice, and we're confirming that, the things I've built so far, they are up to the job. Mostly. The Gremlins are doing extremely well. I didn't even test the new air superiority fighter. Perhaps I could have done that. But because, the Gremlins were, eating the Sin Eaters, pretty easily, I didn't feel any need for them. I didn't think we were really struggling with a small fast craft enough to warrant spawning our laser friend. So I didn't do that. Laser friend is twice as expensive as the Gremlin. So yeah, no need for air superiority. Our helicopters are doing that just fine. And here is another resource zone that's going to be ours. Glorious metal empire. Metal as hell. And I'm also getting used to the idea that you can't command your craft in combat too much. They kind of do that automatically, and I have to say that does take a lot of pressure off, because it means you don't need to babysit your craft as much. And just like the first time fighting the Flayed Monastery, this is not a particularly exciting fight. It just consists of us, shooting at this thing for absolutely ages, and I think I cut this out. So, by the way, I've edited this footage already, cut it down, sped it up, and all that kind of stuff, and commentating it live over it. So I'm as surprised by the jump cuts as you are. And we just kind of peppered this thing for a while. It was either this fight or a different one that I just kind of wandered off to go, get a glass of water or something. There we go. There's the cut. There's the jump cut. That cut, it jumped. Speaking of water, I have water. Do you have water? Take a drink now. Yum, yum, yum. So yeah, honestly, it is a weird feeling to spend so much in the designer, like, spend so much time in the designer, like, kind of freaking out over whether your craft are up to the job, and then you get into the campaign, it's like, oh, their resource gatherers can literally not fight back at all, and they keep spamming the same small, easily poppable things at me. So, how about that? Caught with a flat, how about that? Alright then, so, life is proceeding, and so we've got our big boat under construction, because our 3 gremlins are managing to do very, very well in terms of just securing territory, making our way downtown, down south to the place, actually able to lay eyes on the, on the headquarters right there. It is a weird thing the AI was doing, in that it kept trying to save up for, like, big scary stuff like the Redeemer and stuff like that, and then it just, I think, just kind of panicked and spawned small stuff instead. So there is a Sin Eater, 2 of them. Yeah, just split up the gremlins. I probably didn't need to do that. They probably would have done just fine without any intervention whatsoever. And there goes one kablooey. And this is where I thought, oh no, surely. It turns out that being able to strafe is very handy for avoiding nuke craft if you are a small craft. Because it yaws, you strafe, and then life is good. And that was really close. And every time a new thing shows up, well, not a new thing, every time I ran into the Sin Eater in this particular playthrough, I was like, oh boy, here we go. I was just checking what the chorus even is. The chorus, I believe, is also another easy design. So the Front of Depths difficulty is like kind of whack, honestly, because I've heard from so many people that they play on just easy difficulty, and then things like the friggin' Abactor or the Tarpon show up, and it's like, oh. That's not the White Flayers, by the way, I'm talking about, but, yeah. So far, the chorus has managed to do the most damage to the gremlins so far, out of all the lightning hoods. I keep saying getting White Flayers and lightning hoods confused, and I do not know why. I think they just kind of live in my head as, like, the annoying factions. So, yeah. Proceeding, campaign is proceeding, proceed, and again, we got our tool. We managed to get our tool over there, simultaneously capturing a tile and harvesting. It is quite handy to harvest from space, and, yeah, I do like my logistics system. Like, if nothing else, this kind of campaign practice thing is quite handy for working out logistics, and just getting it all nice, getting it all nice. Whee! And what is happening over there? That is the Deliverance. So this is me being cheeky and thinking, aha, it's commerce rating time. So remember what I said about the Ailstorm Gremlin not being particularly good against large craft, and especially if they're not particularly compact? Yeah, so the chorus is... not the chorus, the Deliverance is completely unarmed. Does look very cool, though. I like this cargo thingy. So yeah, the gremlins struggle so much to actually take this down in any decent length of time that I just decided to back out and try it again. That's me just, like, for giggles, seeing what would happen if we tried to shoot the front off. But here's the thing. The Ailstorm Gremlin's guns, on average, only 40% of the shells even hit at a time. So that's a bit of a whoopsie, I guess. But it's worth it, because bullets, and also brrr. Also, imagine if it fired less bullets. That would be terrible. And so you'll see that this footage remains nice and sped up, because frankly, it's not that interesting to watch two minigun helicopters like shoot an unarmed cargo ship. It takes a hot second. Thankfully, it does go like twice as fast, given that there's 2 of them, but you can see blocks are not falling off. It probably is the shape of the Deliverance as well. It's quite a... it's not a tall craft at all. Like, it doesn't have much height to it, which means that a lot of those shells are missing. The Gremlin really does seem to do its best against smaller craft, which it closes in and shoots at point blank, or against larger things which are basically impossible to miss. That's useful. Incidentally, the White Flayers HQ, the Gorgon, that thing's annoying because it just has so many holes in it. Like, you know, like we do end up fighting it, and a lot of shells just kind of whiff through the gaps on it. It's quite irritating. So yeah, I do like the propeller arrangement on that. I need to get back into the habit of making ships, because ye gods, I was struggling when trying to make decent ships. To be fair, ships are not meta at all in this game, and there's so many campaign designs that are specifically designed to bully ships in particular, so I'm just thinking that, like, yeah, it's why I tend to make hydrofoils all the time. Is like, you could make a ship and then have to worry about cram cannons and torpedoes in particular, and need to stick a whole bunch of stuff on them in order to deal with those things. Or you could make a hydrofoil that, like, drives at 100 meters per second, and basically levitates out of the water thanks to the magic of custom rudders. And you can just dodge cram cannons, be immune to torpedoes, and there you go. So, I don't know. I should probably make an honest-to-goodness battleship again. It's been a long time since I've made a proper battleship. But that's hard. And I'm probably going to make it a front-sider. I'm probably going to base it on, like, the King George or the Richelieu or something like that. Because let's be honest, if you want something tanky, front-siders are the way to go. So front-siding battleship is probably a good idea. Complete with strafing, because it turns out it's a really good way to dodge cram cannons. And here is the Dark Icicle Stone new guns. You can tell it's a prototype version of that. And so your mileage may vary. I just took a screenshot because I was like, hee hee. This thing is not finished, but there's a number of, like, innovations that I implemented on this little guy. Big guy, actually. Reasonably big. Firstly, the center of mass is mostly empty. The vitals are just forward or aft of the center of mass, which really does seem to help in survivability. It's also got lots of redundancy. It's also got two separate laser guns, like on the superstructure and on the tail. And in all the combat testing I've done on that thing, it is actually quite handy, because if you blow off one of the lasers, all that you really do is make the other one stronger, which is really quite handy. Or just convenient. It means that instead of, like, being a problem, it's better. And we've got two Ailstorm Gremlins facing off against a swarm of crap. What is the swarm of crap? So there's a Sin Eater, and I think it's two Sin Eaters and two Lacerators, I believe. And that Sin Eater is gonna go kablooey. This is the downside of ramming craft, in that getting close to the enemy is a great way to get shot at. And one more. Oh, wait, no, it was three Sin Eaters and a Lacerator. Whee, and kablooey. 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 more Sin Eaters down. I really have not been keeping count. I've lived through this experience now twice, and I genuinely do not know how many Sin Eaters we killed. We killed a lot. Like, there's like, the Seas of Nita is now, like, irradiated to the point that if you go swimming, you're probably gonna glow in the dark. So don't do that. Wear your Rambot suit if you're gonna do that. That poor Lacerator. That poor Lacerator. Yeah, can you tell I'm not a huge fan of ramming craft? Like, it's really annoying when they... Yet another reason to never build a bloody ship in this game, because it's like... If you just focus on making flying frontsiders, particularly, like, nimble ones, like, they don't even have to small so long as they're nimble. It's like ramming craft are like, they're not a problem. Right, you are literally just going to drive at me in a straight line while I shoot you. And any second now, brrr, kablooey. So, yeah, just, you know, like, as you do, you invade the territory of the White Flayers and just, destroy all their nuclear weapons. If only it was that easy to invade a repressive nation and, you know, destroy their nuclear arsenal, which they keep throwing at you. If only. And at this point, I'm just like, yeah, no, I don't need to... This is where you can see I get properly cocky. It's like, oh, a Lacerator. Whatever am I going to do? And that's me just checking the Lacerator. This thing is damn cheap. It's like 9,000 materials, so... To put this into perspective, the Ailstorm is around 50,000 materials, which is about as expensive as you ever want a startercraft to be. So credit to the Lacerator for even trying this, but yeah, not gonna work well for you, mate. Also, I really like how those Omni-Mantlets have a huge arc of fire, like almost straight up, straight down, if done on like small gauge APS. It's very nice. Very satisfying. And scratch one Lacerator. It turns out that a drunk helicopter is better than a zealous razor blade, I guess. Alright then, proceeding. Mostly what's happening right now is I want to get that Hydrofoil, the Dark Icicle. Not a true successor to the Icicle yet, I don't think. We're gonna get that thing nice and full up on resources, because it, like... one particular thing I've done is that the main space, the middle section of a craft, I use that for cargo. So it's just... You've got big cargo containers in there, and it just means not much block clustering, and it means that if any penetration weapons hit right in the middle, hopefully they get stopped, because those cargo shipping containers have about like 15,000 health each. And this is where I'm kind of confused at why these things aren't firing, but it turns out sometimes the Hailstorm Gremlin just feels like going easy on the City. At this point I'm like, why did only one gun fire? And I think it's just because of the loading cycle of the built feeders, is that they just decide not to. Incidentally, 50mm AP heat and 50mm sabot frag is very fast becoming one of my favorite, like, APS shells. And yes, I know people have thoughts on sabot frag, but it is really saving my bacon a lot in my designs. It's just handy. It is equally bad at everything, but most importantly, it is a fairly cheap way of, like, putting dense and heavy armor, which is very handy. There's another Sin Eater. We've just... Deacon's hell, like, never mind swimming. You don't want to look at the ocean surrounding High Lorum anymore, because your eyeballs are going to melt. Alright then. And Cargo Fleet 1, Supply Fleet 1. So we've got a nice supply fleet over there, ready to keep fueling up our Dark Icicle, which is about full... About half full of the stuff it needs to be. And one particular thing about this this guy that I may or may not keep is that it spawns nukes. And I'm kind of getting sick of myself using nuke spawning as a crutch, because it is kind of a crutch. But at the same time, look what I've got to deal with in the frickin' campaign. So yeah, there is that. So also, yeah. I think actually, yeah, there was some old ACBs in there when I was experimenting with, like, behaviors and such. And, yeah. So this thing spawns nukes, and one thing I want to draw your attention to is that AI that doesn't have any maneuver or behavior, that is the nuke control. So you can just set that up very simply with an ACB. Actually, I used a breadboard, my bad. And, yeah, it just means that, like, when the AI is turned off, the nukes don't spawn, which is very, very handy. I tried to set it to be automatic, but, like, some things are good nuke targets, even when they're smaller. And at this point, I'm like, alright, are you being stupid? I think you are being stupid, so... Q and detonate, damn you. And low health immediately. So that's much, much faster than just having a bunch of Ailstorms do it. And the Dark Icicle has passed the test of not running into the land like a stupid person, which is very nice. Also, that propulsion system, again, not ideal for anything, least of all a Hydrofoil, but you have to admit, it's a unique look. I have never seen anyone else do that. I'm a big fan of max width two-blade propellers, simply because, I don't know, they're just convenient like that, I guess. They do tend to get shot off, though, which is a little bit annoying, but my designs these days are focused far more on redundancy than, you know, things being well protected, because I'm just... And you'll see that in a second, because that vehicle is mostly made of stone and alloy. It used to be made of metal, but I wanted to make it cheaper, and by gods, it is a lot cheaper now. Because I am a Scrooge. And you'll see here that I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to turn off the main guns, turn off the nuke control, and turn that off. And zzz. So Sin Eater goes zzz, kablooey. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So, to be fair to the Dark Icicle, it did actually do pretty well in this campaign. But you'll see what I did with it in a hot second. And, oh, that's a fight I forgot to... Oops. I forgot to, I forgot that one happened. See, there's so many Sin Eaters were sent at us that I actually skipped over that one in the initial editing of this. Oops. Well, that's kind of funny, honestly. It's like, when nuclear weapons, like, stop being a severe threat and they just kind of start being annoying, it's like, okay, we get it. We've seen this so much. Alright then. And speaking of, did I remember to slow down this one? Yes, I did. And Ailstorm Gremlin just goes shoot, 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 and yep, there you go again. And there's another Sin Eater. So how's our count doing, people? How many nuclear weapons have we exploded with this? And so this is quite a stupid thing to do, probably, because the Gorgon outcosts the Dark Icicle by a huge amount, and the Dark Icicle is not designed to fight things with giant, scary frag guns, like what this thing has. So, yeah, really against something like this, you want a nice front-sider with proper, like, internal heavy armor wedges, so to speak. And did just delete that entire missile volley, which is nice. And you can see there we're not doing very well. So, it has decent armor, not amazing armor. Definitely not supposed to fight stuff like this. And probably also I need to put shields on this. Or ring shields, or the other thing. Ring shields would probably actually be a good idea for this guy. And you can see there we're not doing super well. We're already down to 91% health. And hopefully the nukes can actually do something. It turns out one of the problems with spawning nukes is that it is kind of slow. It's why the things that do it in the campaign tend to be like bricks of heavy armor. So that they can take some punishment while they can actually do things. And I don't know why the nukes were not colliding, so to speak. But they weren't, so we're just going to have to detonate them manually. Thankfully we can do that. That was me just hoping like hell. I think on fortresses as well, it's because fortresses don't move and they don't really have any momentum, which is a bit of an issue. And yeah, so, not doing very well here. Not doing very well here at all. And I think this little nuke gets very confused. Yes, it does. I think it gets its tail feathers clipped by that little AA gun. And the Dark Icicle is having a really miserable time here. And I just, at this point, give up. And I should really decorate the Metalhead nuke. I really should. It's basically the same kind of nuke that was, I was using on the Bark Bark. Back when I was doing Bulwark vs. World, and at this point I'm looking at this thinking like, yeah, no, this ain't working, Chief. This ain't working. Yeah, just does not have the firepower to take down the Gorgon before it does. Probably, bearing in mind the Gorgon I think is like twice the cost of this. So really I should have spawned in 2 of them. Not my best move. Literally not my best move, but kind of the point was to test designs, to really throw them in the deep end, and this whole campaign, that was not happening, because the Ailstorms were just shooting down Sin Eaters left and right, and not really doing anything more than that. So, and over here, yonder 'tis the nuke, it is not nuking, and that main gun actually is probably gonna, I think it was probably gonna, like, kill that nuke anyway, but I just decided to be sure and detonate it manually, because you can do that, you know. At this point, the thing is at about 65% health, and I'm like, okay, I think we get it. Let's simply not. And end the battle. No forces will be deployed, but alas, alackaday, we got too close. We flew too close to the sun. So at this point, I was like, all right, so let's see if the corpse of the Dark Icicle can't provide a handy-dandy distraction for the Ailstorms to finish it off. I apparently had suffered terrible amnesia with regards to how well the Ailstorms do against big targets. They don't do super well, although I think they end up actually disabling a lot of the guns on this thing. Well, you'll see. You'll see why I think that. And that's me inspecting the shell and then being like, yes, that's probably why it's killing us so much. Dearie, dearie me. Railguns are fun. So yeah, the Dark Icicle is not doing very well, not doing very well at all, and I really need to get into the habit of putting shield projectors on my stuff, but I hate shields. I am infamous for hating shields. I think they're fiddly and annoying, and they never feel like they do enough. It always feels like enemy shields do a lot more, but yeah, that's probably a habit I think I've said before, I should get over that kind of disdain for shield projectors. So yeah, there we is. There goes our prototype. It, to be fair to it, it was thrown against something it's never been thrown at before, and probably shouldn't have been thrown at. So yeah, I don't think the thinking on this, the Icicle would have done no better. The Icicle possibly would have fared even worse, being made mostly of wood. I want to test that at some point. Whether the Icicle can 1v1 something like this, it probably can't. But yeah, so the Ailstorms actually managed to take fire from the Gorgon a lot better, because they just, shock horror, dodge the bullets. The best armor is don't be where the shell is going. They are also accidentally flanking the thing, which is quite hilarious, honestly. So yeah, scratch one big battleship, and at this point, like, I wasn't particularly fussed, because the White Flayers were out of money, frankly. They didn't have the resources to make anything big and scary. I believe at this point, the Gorgon only had, like, about 200,000 materials. So, that's it. Also, looking at this, the Gremlin is weirdly tough. It just has a bunch of, like, hit point heavy blocks. What does it have in the front there? I think it has just a whole bunch of, like, alloy poles in the front of it. So, pole armor, you know, it works. It works. I know this whole fleet is kind of an experiment with poles. I want to see how it goes. It's very much hit point heavy armor, which means you're going to lose a lot of blocks. But the enemies, it's going to take a hot second. So at this point, I'm like, alright, time to go. So, I had a decision to make here. The decision being, do I repair yonder prototype, or do I try something else? And at this point, I decided to try something else, because I was kind of happy with the Dark Icicle, but then I made another one from scratch, and I think, like I said before, made two of them in a rush of inspiration, and gonna try out both of them and see how they feel. And again, like, surprise to absolutely no one, here is a Sin Eater, our favorite. Sin Eater, it's going to eat your sin. Doot doot. Water is delicious, and I'm like, dude. So at this point, you can see that, like, the Ailstorm Gremlin pilots are getting way more cocky than me. They're like, don't worry, Chief, I got this. I got a hangover. Whoa, I've been drinking too much for sure. Love that song. It's actually from the depths that made me discover the band Ailstorm, actually, because I believe there was a, what was it? It was like for a mod, for an Age of Sail mod or something, and someone put together a little trailer for it, and they used that song. Ailstorm, I Got a Hangover. So it was like, it fit perfectly, it was great. And then I listened to Ailstorm a bunch, until their most recent album, which was absolutely terrible. Okay then, so, Icicle-ish hull is currently being built, and we've got our little trade fleet there. And before anyone says anything, I know of the whole instantaneous resource transport thing with little boxes. I don't like doing that because it makes the map really cluttered, and it's really hard to defend if the enemy does decide to get it. I like to make the map nice and tidy, and also I like to set up a trade route. It looks nice. It looks very nice. That's why I do it. And this is the point where I'm like, what the hell is happening? Why are you running out of materials? Why are you doing this thing? And why are you doing this thing? You'll also notice that this hull is a lot closer to my usual kind of canoe-ish nonsense. So yeah, that's possibly a reason I'm kind of fond of it. Testing this thing, it did appear to actually be pretty decent. It managed to, without any nukes, 1v1 and optimism. And if you've forgotten what the optimism is, the optimism is a nasty, nasty cram helicopter that the Twin Guard have that is roughly the same cost as this prototype, and it managed to kill it without like dedicated cram defenses, and yeah, they just managed to kill it without any dedicated cram defenses. That's the impressive bit, honestly. I guess just being really fast is helpful, because that thing does like drive at like 70 meters per second. That poor lacerator. Oh boy, the High Priest of Lorem just keep trying to slow things down. It's like, bro, we're literally blockading you. We're at your front door. We're taking our time. We're taking our sweet sugary time. This is a research and development expedition for me. Don't you even know? The Metal Fleet. We're training. This is our training exercise. We're ending your damn civilization to learn things. It is a learning experience for us. Don't you even know? Look at me talking myself up because I keep shooting down Sin Eaters with my little gremlins. It's great. Does the Gremlin have... Nope. I was about to ask if the Gremlin had, like, a, if they had shield projectors. I don't know if they do. Maybe they do. Or maybe it's just they have metal on them and the AP heat shells are, like, kind of, like, bouncing off them. I don't know. Maybe it does have a shield generator. Anyway, we're just waiting for our hull to get nice and filled up, and there we go. Man, that's so much faster when it's 4 times speed. Alright, I was thinking about putting music on while recording this, but I decided against it. The in-game music is all the soothing musical magic you need. And this poor lacerator is getting double-teamed by a thing in front and a thing behind. And frankly, that is, if you're not adequately prepared for that, that can be an extremely painful experience. Oh, that's what happened. So what happened here, I thought at this point that the Hailstorm got hit by friendly fire. Turns out that didn't happen. It turns out what happened is that the Gorgon happened to spawn in as well, because we were just slightly too close, and I was like, nope, we're not doing that. And the lacerator blockaded us stupidly, but I think it was already AI dead, which was a little bit of a whoopsie. Yep, there it goes. It's just falling into the ocean. And now the Hailstorm is basically taking on the Gorgon all by themselves. And the Gorgon is just missing a lot because that's what happens. Yeah, so, yeah, this is just how ballsy the Hailstorm Gremlins are, is that they will absolutely take on an HQ 1v1, and I'm spicing it up a little bit, I'm anthropomorphizing these 1 and 0s a bit, but here we go. So we've got our second prototype hull, which, to be fair, at this point, I think the Gorgon is quite heavily damaged. I think a lot of its main weapons are actually disabled. Yeah, so you can see that main one is disabled. It can't do anything. And this one is not relying on nukes. It's a bit bigger than the other one. But those quad cannons and the smaller ones, those are 433 millimeter. What is it? It is Sabofrag and APHE. So not the most imaginative of shell types, really. I guess Sabofrag is pretty imaginative. It's the kind of thing you don't use it unless you know about it already. So there you go. The main guns on the Gorgon are disabled. And I think just because the guns on this thing are more powerful, that it's probably going to be a more all-round useful thing than the other thing. I do need to stick hit-scan weapons on it, though, so that is probably going to inflate its cost a lot. So, yeah, so we are going to have, a bigger, meaner Icicle. And this thing is fast as hell, which is very nice. I do need to find a way to make those propeller arms a little bit more pretty, because let's face it, they could be prettier, and they should be prettier. But also, weirdly enough, encasing them in metal like that makes them pretty durable. And I just realized that volley took out both the main guns on the Gorgon at the same time. And that makes me really happy. And that just took out more guns. So hooray for ridiculously over-penetration. I was testing this thing's guns mostly against Grey Talon craft, because they are, at the moment, some of the most bricky of the flying bricks available. So, in particular, if you want to test something against a thing that uses a lot of heavy armor slopes, the Onslaught is actually a very good testing dummy for that. Because, like, I couldn't believe how thick the armor on that was. It was, like, amazing. Also, this thing actually has a proper circle at a distance thing, because I got sick and tired of it getting too close and getting too far from things, particularly against things armed with crams. Made me sad. So, there you go. So yeah, we are just destroying the Gorgon in an absolute hail of bullets, and there's not much to say, really. We've basically already won. So this is a successful test, so to speak. I think we're going to go more... I think I might repurpose the first prototype hull into a dedicated anti-submarine weapon, because I think that'll be a good thing. Perhaps jam a whole bunch of torpedoes on it, even though... Against godly submarines, torpedoes aren't that helpful. It's probably useful just to stick 1 or 2 torpedoes on a design. It's just, you know, smirt. They don't have to. It doesn't have to be amazing. Just 1 torpedo will do, just in case you find a mini sub. A mini Subway sandwich. And now you see this guy closing in. And I did have asymmetric thrust on this fella at one point to get him to steer better, and that didn't work. And there I got another achievement, the harder they fall. I forget what... I need to go back and check what these achievements even are. What did I get for them? So, yeah, there's that. That der thing. I can English very well. I am well rested. I definitely didn't stay up too late last night doing things. And I do love the silhouette of this thing, actually. We just need to make its wings more wingy. Oh, that looks cool. It's dark as balls, but it looks pretty cool. This is the brightened up footage, by the way. It's like, it was even darker, like, in-game, so to speak. And there you go. The Gorgon is dissolving. Turns out it's water-soluble if you shoot it enough. How incredibly convenient for us. And that's another successful test of our designs for Godly Neater. And power time was 24 hours, and we took 6 hours of in-game time. It took actually about 2 hours of recording, so we did really well. Hooray! So, on that note, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon, or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps, and there's fun perks in it for you. Like at the lowest tier, access to a Patreon-exclusive Discord. We can blow up nukes together and laugh about it. Or at the highest tier, I will even build or draw stuff for you. Like, and that's a lot of fun. I find that it's a good motivation and good practice to actually build stuff to people's requests. So, like, give me money so I have an excuse to do that. That was very blunt, wasn't it? Also, check out my other channels and my Twitch. There's a lot of streaming. If you want to see more... a lot more stuff getting blown up, well then, we're doing a lot of combat testing in From the Depths over on the Twitch channel, and you can see it on the VOD channel, also art streams, and I'm playing through a nostalgic game from my childhood called Impossible Creatures at the moment, and you should go check all of those things out. It's good fun. So, I bid you a good day, or night, or any time of day. Happy hunting the white flayers, and I'll see you next time in From the Depths. Farewell! I am so glad I did not meet this thing.